Hi, welcome to week 3, the calming practice this week. I've called it I Shall Meet Spring. It's a line from a poem by Kyōgoku Tamekane. I'll share that with you during our final relaxation. But we're going to start off with some extended shoulder release sessions. So as a myofascial release of arms, shoulder, the joint itself, shoulder blades, neck. We'll come up into a few standing postures and then conclude our practice with a few supported back bends, which really help after all that loosening and releasing of our shoulders and neck. It's really nice to kind of have it just kind of lay open and breathe. So I'm going to be demonstrating with 2 blocks, but if you only have 1 block, look around and see if you can find a couple pillows or some kind of cushioning, or even sort of like a harder object would work. 1 block, and I'll demonstrate at the mid-level. 1 block is going to be at the level of your shoulder blades. So it's going to look like this. Second block can be up higher or lower. And if you don't have this block, if you don't have the second block, feel free to add pillows or cushions or something like that, so you can support your head. Okay, so that'll happen toward the end of our practice. But if you need to find something for your head, go ahead and look for it, and then come back and we'll begin. We're also going to use the wall for 2 practices. So I'm just going to use the space behind me. You don't need a ton of space, but we can use the wall as a prop as well. So let's get started. Feel free to lie on your back. I have a blanket out. You can lie on your mat, carpet, put a blanket over. The idea is to feel comfy on our backs. Arms out to sides. I'll call this airplane mode, with the arms straight out to the sides, and your feet flat on the floor. And so notice your neck space, notice your shoulders. We'll be getting into the shoulders in several different ways here. Starting, as you inhale, you're going to slide 1 set of fingers as far out to the side as you can. So this is 1 arm at a time. Deep breath in like you're trying to push a button a couple inches over to one side. And then as you exhale, relax. And then you do the same thing on the other side. As you inhale, slide your fingers along the ground, fingernails, palms face up. And then as you exhale, relax. And go back and forth like this at the pace of your breathing. Inhale as you go for the stretch. And then exhale as you release and relax. And you're alternating sides. And so the hands can be spread wide as you're sliding your fingers, sort of like sliding your fingernails out. And then when you exhale, your arm relaxes. And go back and forth like this at a curious pace. You might notice differences in sensation from palm to palm, from forearm to forearm. And it might be that you feel a little more stretch through one side of your heart center. You can notice that. All right. Great. And you're going to continue like this at the pace of your breathing. Inhale, you extend. Exhale, you relax. And as you're extending one arm, you're going to turn your head the opposite way. So I'm extending my right arm. I'm going to turn my head to the left. That's your in-breath. And then you exhale, everything comes back to center and relaxes. And then you'll alternate sides. So now I'm sending my left arm out, and my head turns to the right. And go back and forth like this another few times. And you can almost have the sense like you're breathing into your arms. When you inhale into the stretch, it's like you're breathing all the way down your arms into your fingertips. And in addition to any sensation in your arms, you might notice that your head turns more easily to one side. or maybe there's a different range. One side compared to the other. Go back and forth like this just another couple times. And then exhale, you come back to center. If you need to move your arms around, go ahead, but otherwise allow them to drop down. So notice the new sensations arising from your arms. And the next move is similar, but not the same. You're going to take your pinkies on the ground, and the hand, like it's a karate chop. So the palms are pointing kind of like towards your feet. And then from here, you sort of lead with the thumb. So the thumb sort of takes control, and it's like you're trying to press a button to one side with your thumb. And then you exhale, relax, and you'll alternate sides. So on this one, it's a deviation of the wrist as well. So you send your thumbs out, and if you can see on the video, like my wrist is sort of lifting up and my fingers sort of point down a little bit. And then you exhale, recoil, and relax. And you go back and forth like this several times. And so this is also an arm stretch. But because we're leading with the thumb, my hope is that you feel like it's taking a slightly different route up your arm, these stretches here. So the thumb leads the way. Deep inhale as your thumb extends out. Exhale, you relax back to center. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Thumb leads the way. Exhale. And then, like we did on our first practice, you can turn your head opposite your thumb extending out. And then you exhale, come back to center. So now I'm going to take my left thumb out to the left. That means I turn my head to the right. And go back and forth like this. When we lead with the thumb, this is stretching what's called a deep front arm line, which includes the bicep. So you might feel like you stretch the bicep a little more here. So notice if one upper arm feels tighter than the other. Inhale, head turns, thumb extends out. Exhale, you release and relax. Go back and forth like this another few times. Okay, and then from there you can relax your arms, palm face up again. All right, so that was along the palmar side of our arms, which connect to the heart center, to the chest. From here, you're now going to take opposite elbows. So hands take hold of opposite elbows. And as you inhale, lift your elbows up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, you use one arm to draw the whole ensemble over to one side. So one arm draws the other arm across. And then as you inhale, come back to center. And then you'll alternate sides. So this arm draws over. You're going to feel your shoulder blade protract out to the side. Inhale is in the middle, elbows up. Exhale, arms to one side. So you feel the opposite shoulder blade protract up off the ground. And go back and forth like this. And eyes opposite elbows. So my elbows are going to the right, turning my head to the left, like I'm trying to look underneath my shoulder blade. And then inhale, you come back up to middle. And then exhale, other side. Look underneath my right shoulder blade. And inhale, come back to center. Go back and forth like this. Very sort of like lazily and curious. And this is subtle body work. So it could feel intense, Just make sure it's not too intense. So repetition is key here. Instead of doing the practice once really strongly, we do it several times more gently. That helps release your tissues. The next time you come back to the center, switch the lacing of your arms. So now it's like the weird way you're holding your forearms, and continue side to side. So with your arms laced the other way, you might feel small differences between one shoulder blade and your other shoulder blade. So notice this. This is what's called the deep back arm line. You get the rhomboids, you might get a fair amount of tricep. Very good. And so you start on one side, and you finish with your other side. And then once you come back to the middle, arms out to the side in airplane mode again. And then guide your awareness to shoulder blade area. Notice any percolations, pulsations of sensation on your mid and upper back. All right. Great. And then from here, you're gonna take your palms together, right above the heart, and interlace all fingers except your index fingers. So it's like you're sort of pointing up. So thumbs and fingers are pointing up. And so that guarantees that your palms stay together the whole time. Also, you're gonna keep both arms straight. It's gonna really inhibit the movement, but the tendency is gonna be to bend your elbows. So keep arms straight. Inhale here, and then exhale, take your arms to one side, turn your head opposite. Now the first thing you're gonna wanna do is bend the elbow. Inhibit that. You're gonna not go as far, and then you inhale, come back to center. Exhale, other side. And go back and forth like this. This is called the superficial back arm line. It's not a terribly big move. It's not a terribly big move. So your arms and your head are going in opposite directions. Okay? And both arms are straight the whole time. And what that does is max out that protraction of the shoulder blade. But it's also like your one arm draws your other arm across, helps get your lats on one side. My hope is that this feels like there's less movement, but it's like a bigger swath of area of your upper back. Really like the whole back body, like the back of the torso. So it's almost like we're wearing capes. Like the lats are very sort of cape-like, like a superhero. And so you're lengthening the cape on one side, and then lengthening the cape on the other side. And go back and forth like this another couple times. Try to look under opposite shoulder. And noticing any differences between sides. Like is one arm more likely to bend than the other one? Okay, and you start on one side, so end with your second side. And then whenever you come back to center, arms out in airplane mode, pause here. Hopefully it feels like there's more blood and sensation down your arms. And it feels like your arms, you can feel the connection between your arms and your torso. Okay, and now we're going to ring all of these arm lines out at once. So we're going to start with our palms facing up. Hands can be a little bit wider. And as you inhale, you're going to draw your shoulder blades away from your ears. Rotate your palms beyond your head and toward the floor, like you're trying to palm the floor the more difficult way. Your hand might not get down, and that's fine. This is the hard way to do it. You're also going to arch your back here. So squeeze your low back, breathe in the belly. That's your in-breath. And then exhale, you de-rotate and start rotating the other way. Palm the floor the easy way. And as you continue to exhale, keep going. You're going to lift your pinky finger up off the floor, and your shoulders are going to ascend toward your ears. And this is going to happen every breath. So as you inhale, shoulders away from your ears, arch your back, try to palm the floor the more difficult way. Exhale, palm the floor the easy way, keep going. You can also press your low back into the floor. And go back and forth like this at the pace of your breath. Of course, everyone has a range, and the range on your left side might not be the range on your right side, so honor the shorter range, particularly if you've had any injuries or if one shoulder's compromised. Honor the arm with the lesser range. And go back and forth like this. So you inhale, arch your back, palm the floor the hard way, the more difficult way, shoulder blades away from ears. Exhale, palm the floor the easy way. Keep going, shoulders elevate, low back down. And go back and forth like this. So the inhale, this is called external rotation. Palming the floor the hard way is external. And palming the floor the easy way and rotating is internal. Do this once or twice more. And then when you inhale, palms face up, neutral spine. Notice any sort of ripplings of sensation up and down your spine. Hopefully it feels like your upper body, there's like a lot of three-dimensionality in your arms, palms feel a little more three-dimensional. Heart space. Okay, and then so if your feet are not on the floor, bend your knees, soles of feet on the floor, and let's take our legs together for now. They'll stay where they are. And then from here, so we're going to build up to double spiral, which means you're twisting in your spine and you're rotating your arms. So turn your head, turn your head to one side. Look at your fingers. The arm that you're looking at is going to go into external rotation. So you're trying to palm the floor the hard way. Your other arm goes into internal rotation. Palm the floor the easy way and keep going. So now your shoulder blades are going in opposite directions. That's on your inhale. And then exhale, come back to center, palms up and eyes up. And then same thing on the other side. Turn your head the other direction. The hand you're looking at rotates externally. The other arm rolls internally. And that's on your in-breath. And let's just try this a couple times. Exhale back to center. Inhale, look at one hand. That arm, external rotation. Other arm, internal rotation. Exhale, everything de-rotates. And then you alternate the other side. Inhale, external rotation of the arm you're looking at. Internal rotation, other arm. Go back and forth like this. Lazily inhale, you're bringing out the stretch, bringing out your arms. Exhale, you recoil and relax, you soften down. And then you try the other side. Go back and forth like this another couple times. You might notice that a spiral is a little bit more intuitive on one side. Okay, And so if this feels like enough to do, you can do this. You keep on doing this. If it's available to add a twist to the spine, you're going to look at one arm, do whatever you're doing in your arms, and whichever way your head goes, your knees drop opposite for spinal twist. So that's your in-breath, and then exhale, you come back to center, and then you try it on the other side. So you look at an arm, that arm externally rotates, opposite arm internally rotates, and your knees opposite your eyes. And then you exhale, come back to center, and go back and forth like this several times. So this is a really good wringing out of the entire torso. And you're breathing right at the point that you're wringing everything out. So the pose is working from the outside in, and your breath is helping stretch from the inside out. And the breath can lead the way, so this is vinyasa. Is it easier to twist to one side? Does one spiral feel more intuitive than the other? And perhaps those like clicks or pops, there might be sort of tiny sounds in your body as you sort of hear, you can almost hear the tissues slide past one another. So very good for lymphatic flow, blood flow. This also helps calm nerves. Okay. So you started on one side, so complete your other side. And whenever you're done with your second side, relax back to center. And pause here. So notice what you can notice. We've done a fair amount of work already from one fingertip to the other fingertip. All right. Very good. So the next practice is either A, going to be a supported bridge here. So I'll demonstrate at the mid-level. And from here, hands can either take hold of the block, or if you can interlace your fingers beyond the block, like so. Okay. And if you can't do that, you can always hold the mat. And my intention here is to try to roll your shoulder blades closer together. That helps pop up the heart center. So yeah, either holding the mat, holding the block, or interlacing your fingers. You can rock from side to side, try to get your arms underneath, and breathe gently into collarbone space. So this is option number 1. The second option, instead of hips on block, this is if you can interlace your fingers underneath you, rock your arms underneath, that helps pop up your heart center. If it's available, you then sit on your forearms or your hands. You can unlace your fingers if that feels uncomfortable for your joints of your fingers. And because your hips are on your arms, you're kind of like pinning your heart center open. And for me, this feels like a really good release and relaxation opening of the heart center, tops of shoulders. And once again, if this does not work for you, go back to supported bridge. All right. So everyone has one of those two options. There are a couple options in the neck. The first option is to not do anything I'm about to do. In your neck, especially if the neck feels sensitive, or you have any concerns about your neck, just relax here. If it feels available, if it feels safe, you're going to turn your head to one side. Doesn't matter how far it goes. Doesn't have to go 90 degrees or anything like that. You just turn your head to one side, and then very gently press your skull into the floor, like you're adding a pound or two of pressure. And so you're pressing one side of your skull into the floor, the other side, the neck, breathe into it. So my hope is this is a gentle opening for neck, top of shoulders. We get the sternocleidomastoids. Those are those big muscles on the side of our necks. Very good. And then you bring your head back to center. So face is oriented upward. Gently press the back of your skull into the floor to activate the muscles along the back of your neck. That helps sort of kind of cleanse the twist a little. And then you try the other side. Head turns to the other side. Again, it does not matter how far it goes. It might go to a different range, and that's fine. And then you're going to gently press the side of your skull into the floor and breathe into opposite shoulder. So I'm pressing the right side of my head down. So I'm trying to direct my breath into the top, outward from the top of your left lung, breathing into my left collarbone, and several breaths here. All right. Very good. And then you bring your head face oriented toward the ceiling. Press the back of your head into the floor. Just gently again, a pound of pressure, half pound of pressure. Okay, mind's eye to your feet. Press your feet down. Lift your hips off your hands or off the block. Block out of the way. Exhale, lower down. And allow the front of your arms and the top of your chest to soften down. All right. Very good. And then from here, let's come up to seated. All right. So yeah, finally up to seated. Let's do a couple more shoulder release exercises. The first one, take your palms, relax them face down. And I'm sitting cross-legged. You can sit however you want. You can do all this work on a chair, if that works for you better. But hands relaxed down. And then you're going to draw your shoulder blades up, back, down, and forward, up, back, down, forward. And then you connect those, round off the rough edges, so there's circular motion with your shoulder blades. Now I call this yin coordination, which means can you do something without doing something else? And that without doing something else, the arms might kind of want to move along with this. Can you relax your arms and just use the muscles around your shoulder blades to do this work? So a couple more times in one direction. And then after that, you change directions, which means we're going up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, and then you smooth out those rough edges, turning the square into a more circular move. And your arms are relaxed, palms are heavy, your arms are really just going to be drawn in a circle by your shoulder blades. Okay. Very good. All right, and so from here, so we're going to do a stretch for the side of the neck, and we'll start. You can start with your right hand. I'm mirroring you, but you can start with your right hand. This is my left, but you're looking at me. It's your right, and you don't want to pull your head down, but you just want to add a little bit of weight to your head so you get some kind of stretch over here. Okay. Make sure this feels safe for the spine of your neck at all times. Okay. And you want to, again, you don't want to pull down. You just want to add a little bit of weight. Okay. Now from here, it might be that your head goes a little further down if you shrug your left shoulder up higher. Okay. So then from there, if that feels okay for your neck, you now keep your head where it is and slide your left shoulder and your elbow really toward the floor. And that should max out whatever stretch you're going to get on your left side. Now breathe into your left collarbone, into the inward curve where your shoulder meets your neck. Several times here. So I like getting a stretch this way because that means you're not pulling on your head. All the active work is being done by your arm, which in general we have a lot more control over. So 2 more breaths into your left side. Now to come out of this, take your right hand, the hand that's holding your head, push your temple back up. All right, and release. Now take a couple shoulder rolls in one direction and shoulder rolls in the other direction. What's the difference like? For me, it feels like my one side, like there's a lot more neck on one side. It's a lot longer. All right, great. And let's try that on the other side, please. So you're going to take your left hand to head, and again, you don't want to yank or pull or force at the level of your neck. Okay, so this is all very like passive. The arm relaxes somewhat. So there's some traction to your left. Okay? And then you don't have to pull any more in your left arm. From here, if you take your right shoulder up, the head just might tilt on its own accord a little further. If it doesn't, don't worry, you're good. So from here, now my right shoulder is hiked. And then I keep my head where it is. This shoulder and this elbow slide toward the floor. So right shoulder blade down, right elbow down. And that should give you a significant stretch in the right side here. And there's a ton of tiny little muscles from the spine out to surface level. So your experience might be different than mine, but I'm feeling a lot of work right here where the inside of, where the inward curve where the shoulder meets the neck. You might feel something different, but regardless, you can breathe into it. So there is lung up here, pretty close. So it's like, can you breathe into the tip of your right lung? Great. And one last time here, take a deep breath in. Big exhale, and then with that shoulder traveling down, you then take your hand to your temple, press your head up, and you release. Notice how the right side of your neck feels, and then take a couple of shoulder blade rolls. Just do that a few times, in one direction, then shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. All right, great. Switch the lacing of your legs. So whichever way you were sitting. If you're sitting cross-legged, switch. And then from here, you're going to take your right arm forward. Left hand, either option 1, you hold your elbow and you take it across. Okay. Option number 2 is you take your arm underneath and you pull it across. Option number 3 Some of you might be able to hold the top thumb with the fingerprints of your other hand. And then from here, but regardless of your options, like 1, 2, 3, your left arm gently tractions your right arm across. And then you try to look behind you to the right. So 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. And one last. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And then come out from there. Palms relax down. Arms heavy weight as your shoulder blades circle in one direction. And shoulder blades circle in your other direction. All right. Great. So let's try that on the other side. So left arm up. Option number 1 is your right hand, palm pulls it over. Option number 2 is your forearm can pull it over, or even the back of your hand. Forearm pulls it over. Option number 3, if it works for you, that's great. If not, that's great. But you're going to take your fingerprints to the thumb of your top hand. All right, and then from here, your elbows, draw your left arm across and look behind your left shoulder. And we'll pause here. And this side might be a completely different experience. It might be a completely different range. Go with whatever range your arm is giving you. And make sure it's not too intense. And there's 2 more breaths here. All right. And then from there you can unlace your arms, palms down. Couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction. Couple shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. Okay, great. And then change the lacing of your legs. So if you are sitting on the ground, take a cross-legged seat. If you're in a chair, you can do this in a chair, just feet flat on the floor. But from here, you're going to slide your sitting bones back, and your heart's going to go forward in space. And you don't have to change position, but I'm going to change position so you can see what my arms are doing. So you're going to reach forward first. Reach forward with your fingers. And as far forward as you can come, as long as it feels okay for your joints, especially the knees, hips, low back. Slide your fingerprints out. And it's like you're trying to stretch the cape of your upper back, the lats. So fingers as far out as you can. You might feel that the shoulder blades come up toward your ears. And I'm sure in a lot of classes, including my own, people constantly cue to take your shoulders down. But there's value in getting familiar with this up here. And that value is to stretch the cape of our back. So fingerprints out as far as you can. And then keep your fingers where they are and breathe into your upper back. So your navel draws in. It becomes thoracic breathing, the breathing of the rib cage. And it's like you're trying to breathe into your shoulder blades, the back side of your armpits. And then you're going to keep your heart forward. And then from here, hands either A, on hips, and you squeeze your shoulder blades in. Or B, if you're able to interlace your fingers behind you, you could do that. Just make sure you keep your elbows, tendency is to lock out elbows. Bend your elbows a little. Engage your biceps, everybody. And then slide your shoulder blades back. So your lungs are going forward, shoulder blades back. And you can do this either here with your fingers interlaced, or here with your hands on your hips. Squeeze your shoulder blades down and in, and try to draw your elbows together. And 3 more breaths, breathe into collarbones. All couple shoulder blade rolls. One direction followed by the other direction. You can lean back, switch your legs again. And then from there, sitting bones back. We'll repeat that again. If it's worth doing once, it's worth doing twice. So, tend to your knees, make sure your knees are cool, sacrum's all right, low back's all right. And you're going to slide your fingers as far forward as you can. And dare to crawl your shoulder blades up. Really elevate the shoulders like you're trying to hang them off your ears. Fingers as far forward as you can. And then fingerprints stay where they are. And you take the deepest breaths that you can. So yeah, as long as all joints are okay, you slide your fingers forward, listen to your shoulder blades. You might feel that there's some kind of stretch around the shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades and the rib basket, the bones of your ribs, with the shoulder blades way up. And one more breath here. Okay. So you're going to keep your lungs forward. Either A, hands on hips, and you squeeze your shoulder blades back and down, so now your shoulder blades are going like almost the exact opposite direction. So a very dynamic series for the shoulders. And your elbows squeeze toward one another and back, and you engage your biceps. Option number one is hands on hips. Option number two, interlace your fingers. I would suggest you switch the lacing of your fingers. So it's like a weird way to hold your hands. And then biceps back, lungs forward. Now we dust off your collarbones. Breathe into collarbones. And 2 or 3 more breaths here. Elbows gently unlocked, biceps engaged to get more stretch across heart center. Okay, great. And then as you inhale, you arrive upright. A couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction. And shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. Maybe the shoulder blade rolls are getting bigger over time. All right. Great. And then let's meet up in a downward facing dog. So I'll move my blanket out of the way. And let's find our downward facing dog. So hands plant. Yeah, first big hamstring stretch. From here though, so you can lift your sitting bones, press your heels back, get whatever stretch you're going to get in the legs. And then from here, so this is a more yin dog. So if you are very flexible, maybe you can focus on the stability. And you draw your elbow points in a little, you engage your biceps, you squeeze your shoulder blades in. That's if there's, if really relaxing into the shoulders is contraindicated, or you're generally hypermobile, it might work to your benefit to work on the strength component. But especially if you have tight shoulders, there's nothing inherently wrong with just dropping your head and shoulders down. So you see at this point I'm hanging off my shoulders. So what I don't want to do is like try to yank myself down. But just like what we did with our head, like you don't want to yank the head for a neck stretch, you don't want to yank the shoulders, you just use your body weight. And the head just kind of dangles like a Christmas ornament. And then you breathe into the collarbones, breathe into armpits. And if it makes sense for you to do it, press your hands into the floor and shoulder blades squeeze up toward the ears and stretch out the cape of the lats. So like our superhero capes on our back body, so our shoulder blades are actually going to go up toward the ears. And once again, so this does create more space in the shoulders. If you're already hypermobile or that feels like it puts your shoulder joints at risk, keep your shoulder blades down, siphon them in. Otherwise, it will lengthen. Yeah, lift your sitting bones up toward the ceiling. 2 or 3 more breaths. Drive your hands through the floor, shoulder blades up toward the ears. All right, and then you can lift your heart center up and bend your knees. All right, from your hands and knees, do a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction. Shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. And let's come up into a pyramid. So right foot forward, left foot back. Okay. The tendency is for the hips. So my right foot's forward. Tendency is for my hips to turn to the left. So cut your front hip back a little. And then from here. So if you need balance assist, ignore what I'm about to cue with your arms and keep the left hand on the block, like I'm showing, and enjoy the stretch here with the balance assist of the block. If it feels okay, you're gonna take your hands to hips, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and try to squeeze your elbows together as close as you can. Okay, and that's option number 1. Option number 2. For those who do reverse namaste, that's reverse prayer hands, you're going to take your palms together behind you and draw your shoulder blades away from your ears, okay? So if that doesn't look like a good idea for wrists, elbows, or anything like that, you stick with hands on hips. You can still get the same opening across the heart and around your shoulders. And there's 2 more breaths here. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale, and take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And you bend your front knee a little more, come up, and step up and switch sides. All right. So you bend your front knee a little bit. With my left foot forward, the tendency is for my hips to turn to the right. So you're going to cut your front hip back, turn your hips toward the top of the mat, and then you fold. Now it feels like you're about to fall over. Balance assist, block, right hand to block, right on the shoulder, and you're good to go. Okay? And enjoy the stretch. Okay? If it feels like you're in balance, you're gonna take your hands to hips, squeeze your shoulder blades in, engage your biceps, squeeze your biceps in, squeeze your elbows in, and if you would like to try the namaste hands, go ahead and do that. That's palms together behind you. And if this feels okay for your wrists and elbows and everything, the hands kind of give you leverage to help peel your shoulders back a little bit more aggressively. So that's why if you can do it, it's sort of helpful in terms of getting more leverage for the heart opening. But if it doesn't feel good for joints, honestly, I don't think it's worth it. So this will give you plenty of heart opening here. Squeeze shoulder blades away from ears, everybody. Elbows together, everybody, and back. And 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. And one last time, take a deep breath in. Okay, great. You bend your knee a little more. Come all the way up, step up. All right, and you take a couple breaths in Tadasana. Drive your feet down, lift your lungs up. Shrug your shoulder blades up, squeeze them in a little bit, and then like a pair of elevator cars going down to the ground floor, they slide down your back body. All right. Great. And then let's open this up into a wide-legged, a standing forward fold. How wide? Kind of use your own intuition on that. Too wide, you won't get any hamstring stretch. But I'd like you to bend the knees and then take your hands down. From here, you're going to round your spine, which means you send your elbows through your legs. So I'm going to demonstrate this from the side for a second. So from here, hands come down to the floor, and then you bend your elbows. And you pause there. Inner thighs up toward the ceiling. All right. And breathe here. So you drive your feet down, lift your inner thighs up. If this option works for you, you can stay here. There is an arm variation, where you take your hands above your hips, sort of like behind you, interlace your fingers. You can draw your shoulder blades into the back. And then from here, you take your arms overhead. The tendency is to lock out elbows. I encourage you to bend the elbows just a little. Engage your biceps a lot. And that'll give you more of a heart opening without hanging off of your elbows. And once again, if this feels like it's like you're off balance, or if the shoulders don't like this, just take your hands to the floor. And enjoy this for the next 5 breaths. Dust off collarbones. All right, take a deep breath in. Release your hands to the floor. Come up so it's like the upper body's in a plank. Draw your shoulder blades away from your ears. And then from here, bend your knees. You're going to heel-toe yourself a little closer together. All right, and then come all the way up. We were down there for a while, so reach your arms up toward the ceiling. I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but you're going to press your palms face up toward the sky. So what do you think? Press your palms up. Breathe into your side ribs. Deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time. Breath in. Okay, great. So this is where we're going to use the wall space, and what I'm going to do is I'm taking my left hand to the wall, and more specifically my left forearm. Okay, palms are facing up, elbows on the wall. Okay, and then from here, our feet are going to be like they are on a balance beam. So my right foot goes behind my left. So right foot behind the left, and then your right arm's going to reach up, and then from here you're going to side bend over, and your top fingers, they may or may not come to the wall. Okay? And they don't have to. Okay? So stage 1 is you reach the arm up, you take the arm overhead. If it's available, you take your fingerprints to the wall, and then you slide your fingerprints up as high as they can go. Okay. Fingerprints high, your back heel, drive it through the floor so your back leg is engaged. And then from here, shift your hips maybe like another 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch away from the wall. So at that point, you're now getting a big stretch down your right side. Breathe into it. Slide your fingers up another millimeter for one last breath. Okay, great. And then release. Come back before we do the other side. Notice the difference between sides. Sort of like after we stretched one side of the neck and then the other side of the neck, like one side of the neck feels longer. In this case, it's like one whole torso. The side of your torso feels longer. Okay, great. And then so switch sides. So you're going to take your right hand to the wall, okay, and more specifically, your right forearm to the wall, so elbows on the wall. And then from here, the balance beam, left foot steps behind your right. Okay, that heel drives down. You're going to reach your left arm up now, and shoulder blade can ascend. It can elevate. You can lift it up, fingers up and over. And do your fingers get to the wall? It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. So stage 1 is you're just reaching toward the wall. If it's available and your fingers get to the wall, stage 2 is you slide your fingerprints up as high as possible. Okay, and that's going to lengthen your whole side body. Okay, so your left fingers, crawl them up the wall as high as you can. Drive your heel, this back heel, left heel into the ground. And then from here, with whatever's left over, you slide your hips maybe another 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch away from the wall. And that's going to give you as much stretch as you need on your left side. The pose is stretching from the outside in. Breathe into this from the inside out. Great, and 2 more breaths here. Take a deep breath in, maybe slide your fingers up another millimeter. Great, and one last time, deep breath in, and then you exhale, release. All right, and take a Tadasana wherever you are. Shoulder blades up, shoulder blades back, and then like 2 elevator cars, shoulder blades down. Very good. So I'm going to do one more standing practice and then we'll get to our supported back bends. This is for the arm line of our left hand. This will also use the wall. So you're going to take your left fingerprints and your thumbprint to the wall. Now, I don't want the wrist on the wall. I want it peeling away from the wall so you get a palmar fascia stretch. So, and there's a bonus video this week for getting hand stretches. So if you're not too familiar with like sort of like the palmar fascia, you can review that. But you're going to have your fingerprints on the wall, and your first knuckles are going to press into the wall, but you're going to peel your wrist away from the wall. Okay? And that should give you a hand stretch. From here, you don't have to shift your hips away from the wall or your head away from the wall. Take your other hand to your collarbone, and it's like this collarbone is trying to slide away from the wall. So it's almost like you're trying to hang off the wall. Okay, and this basically doesn't go anywhere because we're all connected through this. But the idea is it's almost like you accidentally glued your fingers to the wall and you're trying to traction your arm by taking your opposite collarbone away from the wall. Okay? So knuckles toward the wall, collarbone away, and there's 2 more breaths here. And once again, this doesn't really go anywhere. This is much more subtle movement. Breathe into your left hand. Okay, great. And then you can just let the hand go. Relax your eyes open or closed. Notice the difference between arms. My hope is that the left arm feels a little longer than the right. And then please let's try that on the other side. So you're going to take your fingerprints to the wall, your thumb print to the wall, and you're going to press your knuckles toward the wall while peeling your palm away. Now this could be a completely different experience over here. So one hand might be a lot tighter than the other. Notice that. Knuckles to the wall, palm away, and then it's like we're trying to traction, just trying to pull away from the wall. You can take your other hand to collarbone, so we know at what level we're trying to traction. So it's the opposite collarbone slides away from the wall. So like hips not as effective, head's not as effective, but the collarbones, if you slide your collarbones straight away from the wall, you're going to get these arm lines, especially through the front of the hand, front of your front arm lines. And then it's like you're trying to breathe down your arm. So breathe into your palm. Two more breaths here. Okay, and then to come out of that, all you have to do is release your hand. All right, and into Tadasana, eyes open or closed. How are you? How are your shoulders doing? Feel the shoulder blades relax down, away from your ears. Notice the length of your arms. Okay. Great. All right, so that's it for the standing practices. So we're now going to use 2 blocks, or the block and the pillows, or the cushion. And so there's 3 levels of block. I'll demonstrate with the mid-level. You can either go low, medium, high. I'll just demonstrate mid-level, but choice of elevation is up to you. I would like the hips to remain on the floor, so this winds up being a supported back bend. And block on the mid-level, it's the block. I would like the block to connect right between the shoulder blades. So if it's too low, your hips are not going to be down. If it's too high, there's not that back bend. So yeah, somewhere right between the shoulder blades. So you can be very picky. Be very picky about where the block is. And that seems like it's good for me. Okay. Second block, or the other prop underneath your head. Yogi's choice on feet. And you can alternate these leg positions. Legs can be straight. Feet can be flat on the floor. Or you can take Baddha Konasana with feet together and knees out to sides. So I'll probably be in one of these the whole time. Feel free to switch in and out as you need to. And we're going to be here for about 3.5 minutes. Okay? All right. So from here, you're going to reach your fingers up. And part of our myofascial release practice was this where our thumbs and fingers are pointing up. So you're going to take your palms together, lift your fingers up as high as you can, your arms reach up. Now that slides your shoulder blades out to the sides. And if you want to slide your shoulder blades a little bit more, you take your arms to one side without bending them, and your arms to the other side without bending them. And then from here, you let go. And what I'm hoping is as you take the palms out, your shoulder blades will want to come together, but the block kind of stops them. And this winds up being almost like a gentle pry bar for your heart. So kind of opens the heart center open a little further than it would if the shoulder blades weren't stopped by the block. So from here, relax your arms. Relax your palms. And gently draw your navel in. So navel is drawn in. So you're not breathing into abdomen. Rather, you're going to breathe into your heart center. Breathe into your armpits. Like you're trying to inflate the top of your lungs. And of course, on exhale, it releases and relaxes. So this is thoracic breathing, like you're trying to dust off the shelving of your ribs. And it might even feel like, because we're working the whole arm line, that the pressure of the breath travels down your arms. All right, and 2 more breaths in this arm variation, and then we'll do a couple more variations. Okay, great. So from here, you're going to bring hands together, interlace your fingers, press your palms up. So we're getting a palmar fascia stretch. Tendency might be to bend the wrists a lot. I like the palmar fascia stretch. So you press the knuckles up instead. Take a deep breath in, and you're gonna take your arms back. Now, our head and our heart are elevated relative to the floor, so you don't have to get to the floor before your arms are by your ears, right? So I happen to be available, my arms are available to take the hands to the ground, but you don't have to get to the ground. Anywhere beyond the head is okay. You can go straight up if you'd like. So you'll listen to your shoulder joint, and you press your palms back. And you're gonna feel the shoulder blades slide up toward your ears a little bit. So they're gonna elevate a little, and that's fine. Breathe into the stretch. Okay, one last time here. All right, and arms come back up to the ceiling. And one more variation. So instead of interlacing your fingers, we're now going to interlace our thumbs. So it winds up looking like a bird silhouette. Okay? And instead of leading with your fingers, sort of like we did earlier in the session, you're going to press your thumbs up, which will immediately deviate the wrists. What does that mean? Thumbs go up, your fingers will go out to the sides. So the thumbs lead the way, and then you take your thumbs as far back as you can. And with the thumbs leading the way, it's also an arm stretch, but it gets different aspects of the arm. So you see, I'm not able to go all the way down on this one. Maybe you'll go a little bit further, maybe not. But you're getting different things. Breathe into everything. And twice more. Okay, great. And then release your hands, arms out to sides. Notice the length of your shoulders, notice the depth of your shoulders, the width of your shoulders. And so we've been here for a while. So whatever leg position you started in, you can take your feet flat to the floor now. And I like to first lift my head with my hands. So hands to head, and like you're picking up like a precious vase. You tuck your chin by lifting the head, and you keep it there. And now the elbows can press into the floor. Heart lifts up off your block. Move your blocks. Move the props. And then lie back down. We are coming into Shavasana, final relaxation. So, in order to get a bit more length through here, you're going to take your hands, and it's like you're giving yourself a bear hug. Hold the skin of your side torso and grab the skin, and look like I'm grabbing my shirt too, and the skin and the muscle underneath it, and we're going to slide it up toward the ceiling. That helps spread the skin of your mid-back. And then from there, you relax down into Shavasana. Relax your eyes, open or closed. So continue relaxing. I'm going to get up to guide you through your Shavasana. All right. lot of work releasing, relaxing your lungs, lung space, your shoulders, and your arms. So really feel the back of your hands heavy, forearms relax, the two bones of your forearms separate and soften down toward the floor. Feel the weight of your elbow. Relax your elbow into the ground. Feel the weight of your upper arm. Imagine your biceps like a sandbag, encouraging your upper arms to soften into the ground. And relax your shoulder joint. Feel the tips of the shoulders soften toward the ground. Shoulder blades, we did a lot of work around shoulder blades. Feel them settle into the floor. And from here, guide your awareness to the inward curve where your shoulder meets your neck. And allow those inward curves to soften and relax. So the space around vocal cords, feel the weight of vocal cords, the throat, base of tongue, all soft. And from here, guide your awareness around your rib basket. So first ribs, second ribs, down to like fifth or sixth ribs. The ribs that encase the top of your lungs, the canopy. Relax those ribs and allow the top of your lungs to widen and soften. And then allow that softness to infuse into the rest of your lungs. And you can stay in your Shavasana and notice and relax if you'd like to engage with a poem that I'm going to read by Kyōgoku Tamekane. Feel free. Round and round, time turns, and so it may be that once more I shall meet spring. But this day, this night, these will never come again. Round and round, time turns, and so it may be that once more I shall meet spring. But this day, this night, these will never come again. is what you can notice in this moment. This day, this night. Notice your breathing. And then gently harness your breath and start taking some deeper inhales, deeper exhales. And imagine sending a breath all the way to your palms. Very good. And from here, please draw one knee into your chest. Give your knee a good hug. Sweep a breath across your low back. And then switch legs. Draw your other knee in. Sweep a breath across your low back. All right, and then both knees, please. Draw them in. Take a big inhale. And exhale, roll over to one side. Pause on your side for a moment. Notice what you can notice. How does it feel like to move again after a period of stillness? Great. And then on your next inhale, make your way up to a comfortable seat. All right, and from seated, gently shrug your shoulders up, slide your shoulders back, relax your shoulders down. Notice the length of your lungs, the width of your lungs, the width of your shoulders. And notice the depth from front to back. Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for practicing. I hope all is well with you. Stay safe, and namaste.